Hey friends, welcome back to the Burn Stress Lose Weight podcast. I have been talking recently with so many women who sometimes think that weight loss has to be really complicated. You need a million new habits that somehow cannot fit the math of your life because likely you're a professional woman with many responsibilities. And if I know you as well as I think I do, you are likely the go-to person in your career and at home. But the truth is, if weight loss has felt like a really complicated additional full-time job, it makes a lot of sense that it hasn't really been an approach that works. One of the things I love sharing with all of you listening to this podcast, and of course with my clients, is you don't actually need a million new habits to lose the weight you want this year, but you do need a few $1 million skills. Part of what I've been sharing over the last few weeks here on the podcast is client stories that I hope share a real journey. The clients that have been coming on the podcast the past few weeks all have one thing in common. They had tried a lot of different approaches and diet strategies in the past, and those strategies didn't work. Specifically, calculating calories, tracking points, logging all of the food, measuring all of the food. These strategies might have worked in the short run, but if you keep needing to take a break from it, or if it's not a strategy that fits your real life, it makes a lot of sense that it doesn't create sustainable results. My goal with these stories is not just to share the simple before and after, but to take you on a journey. Every single client that first comes to work with me has a flicker of doubt because you have likely experienced weight loss and then weight gain back. So my intention with sharing these client stories is to give you a perspective of professional women who self-identify as overachievers from some very different industries that tried those old approaches like tracking and calculating calories and points, and how they had to let go of that approach to make space for what we talk about here on this podcast. The truth is, because you are the go-to person in your career and at home, you will have some very real stresses. But just telling yourself to stress less is not really an effective approach, right? So while it's important that you have an approach that fits your life, a nutrition strategy that actually gets you to your goal, the $1 million skill that most overachievers are missing is how to navigate and walk through that very normal, very human experience of real life stress. Stress in the workplace, worry about your kid, disconnection from a partner in a marriage. The reason that you ever overeat, you don't do what you said you were going to do, or you use food as your main source of a break from life is because you're experiencing stress in a different part of your life. We all have best laid intentions at the start of a week, but if you have that urge to go off track, usually that urge is a signal to look at a different part of your life. Food is literally never calling to you, but you have a mindset. I call this your mindset operating system that derails the smartest overachievers. Here's what you need to know. This $1 million skill, understanding and learning how to navigate real life stresses, is going to change your entire life. You won't just lose weight with a lot more simplicity and a lot more empowerment. You will change literally head to toe, inside out. It will affect how you show up in your career, how you show up at home with your children and with your partner. People will be able to tell a difference. And that's why this podcast is called Burn Stress, Lose Weight. I'm going to be sharing this entire approach and how my clients who have been sharing their stories on the podcast this week are creating massive wins and massive results in their life on the scale and off, live this Sunday on May 31st at 11 a.m. Eastern. I'm hosting a brand new training, Lose 30 Pounds Without Calculating Anything, and I want to see you there live. You can go grab your seat over at burnstressloseweight.com/training. I've hosted many masterclasses, webinars, and trainings over the years, and there's something that I have noticed when women come live. Blocking the time, delegating other tasks, putting things off, saying no to something, and really prioritizing this gives you something that a replay will never give you. There's a decisiveness that you're prioritizing this goal, and it really matters. Now, we all know that life sometimes does happen, and if you cannot attend live, don't worry. We will be sending the replay out if you're registered. So don't wait. Go and grab your seat over at burnstressloseweight.com/training. And right after the training on Sunday, we are going to be opening enrollment for my next cohort of my 6-month group coaching program, Burn Stress, Lose Weight, Feel Unstoppable. This is 6 months of support with me in your corner. Coaching, curriculum, community, a proven process that works where you will lose weight, but also you will find the best parts of yourself again. And let me tell you, people will be able to tell a difference, not just because you're losing weight, but because you are going to change. So get ready now. Doors are opening this Sunday right after the training, and plan to book your consult the moment that doors open. If you're on my email list, that is going to be the first place that you get dibs to my calendar. Let's get into my conversation with Dr. Geoghegan. She is a physician, a very busy OB-GYN. She's a mom of 4 kids, and she has a very full life. I'm actually bringing Kara back to the podcast. I had her on the podcast last year, and after she hit maintenance, we actually experienced a very different part of her journey. So I wanted to bring her back on to share that part of her story with you because she has the best justifications to make the claim that she doesn't have enough time and that she has a lot of responsibilities. I know how many professional women who have a lot happening with their career and at home can make that argument. But as Kara shares today on the podcast, there's a moment of decisiveness to just choose that you want to make a change. And then there's a resourcefulness to actually make it happen. Without further ado, let's get into my story with Dr. Kara Geoghegan so she can share all about it in her words. Welcome back to the podcast, my friends. I have Dr. Kara Geoghegan, who is one of my just dearest clients inside Burn Stress Lose Weight. We have had her on the podcast before, but I wanted to bring you back because we are at a totally different point in your journey. And I think we don't often get to talk about maintenance and what happens after maintenance, the struggles we have. So we're going to be diving into this entire conversation today. Before we get into it, in case someone didn't hear the first time you were on the podcast, can you just take a minute, tell us about yourself, introduce yourself, what you do, and how you ended up here?
So private practice, OB-GYN in Evansville, Indiana. I've been in private practice for 15 years now. I have 4 kids, 15, 14, 12, and 10. My husband is also a physician, and we have a very busy life. I'll say that.
Before we ever even started working together and coaching, like describe what your life was like before when weight loss was a struggle. You had lost weight before, but then you would gain
Right,
it back. You're a busy
right.
OB-GYN with kids. Like what was life like before?
I just kept doing the yo-yo, up and down, up and down, up and down. And I was getting very frustrated. I felt like I'd tried everything and it wasn't working. And I listened to one of your podcasts and I thought, of all people, you're an OB-GYN, you're going to understand my lifestyle because I felt when I was counting macros or doing certain things, I was like restricting my diet so much. It was very hard to live my lifestyle and still do some of those things, which is why I found out it doesn't work. And I thought, of all people, you would get me and you would be able to understand where I was coming from. I mean, keto was a big one. I did keto for a long time, really restricted my carbs, but I found out, like you said many times, restriction does not work because you're depriving yourself of things and eventually you want to have those things. And so over time, it slowly creeps back in and slowly the weight came back on. And so deprivation and restricting does not work.
This is one of the things that I think also used to just blow my mind. It's like as an expert in women's health, this is not something we learned in medical school
No.
on really how to care for our body and our metabolism, what we're talking about now. So what do you think was the main thing that made you decide you don't want to be doing that anymore and you're ready to make a change?
I think I would just remember I was just tired of gaining the weight back, working so hard. I mean, I had done so much cardio. I had done a half Ironman. I had run numerous half marathons and really put it all in and gone, I felt like to the end. And then that weight just came back again. And I felt like I was in this mode where calories in minus calories out. And it wasn't working.
I remember when we first talked, you were on a vacation with your
Oh, yeah.
family. And one of the things you mentioned to me was overwhelm. You even said to me, I know how to be disciplined. I'm a very disciplined person, but I get so overwhelmed around my
Yeah.
time. I have after work activities with the kids, and then I end up in the fast food lane. Like,
Yeah.
what was it about life at that time that was feeling so overwhelming?
Well, I think one time my kids said to me, they said, "Mom, it's normal to have a meal at home together." And I remember being like, wow, I have let my children down. I
Mm.
knew that one of my biggest faults or weaknesses was that I didn't meal plan and I didn't cook and I was just trying to grab whatever was convenient at the time. I didn't know how to solve that problem. I thought I was joining like this secret group that's going to tell me the recipes to make and it's going to, all work out and I'm going to be able to do
Yeah.
all this.
Yeah.
And then, I mean, I think you really just laid it all out in line for me that it was about time management. It was about putting things on my calendar. It was about making a plan that worked for me, that that I loved. I probably say that all the time. I have to find a plan that you love, that you will consistently do, that I do not feel that I'm depriving myself of, that I can be consistent with for the rest of my life. And so I think I started focusing on not processed foods, focusing on protein, starting my day with that. I mean, the biggest change for our family is that we meal prep now on Sunday nights. I send out a note, everybody gets the meals for the week. I prep breakfasts on Sunday for everybody, and the kids they're helping out more too. I mean, I do order home chef and we get meals that are already together that make things faster to put together. And it's not perfect. There's sometimes where it doesn't work out. Please don't ever think that I'm telling people it's 100% I do everything on the day. Sometimes it doesn't work like that. But I have backups to my backups. I found products and things that feel me and are nutritionally benefiting my body better quick.
I think one of the first things we dismantled, now you have multiple responsibilities. We have a really strong story that we don't have enough time.
Mhm.
And so
Oh,
you don't have enough time, and then you don't make certain
yeah.
key, I call these like needle moving magic action decisions. And then
Yes.
your entire week, it's like you're putting out fires and
Yep.
always running behind. So, how did you start? Like, once you first joined the program, I think it's within the first week, with the first day, you get how to make magic action decisions. How did that start to save you time? And how much time do you think you've been getting back per week?
Well, number one, I started putting it on my calendar. On Sundays at 4 o'clock, I'm going to do this. Now, I am wonderful at Walmart delivery, Target pickup. I have to really plan it. But once you do it and you get the system in place, it's just easy. You just
Mhm.
check the button, it's all delivered, it's done, delivered to the house, and it's there for me. So I've just learned how to delegate. I thought I was too busy to do all that. And, there is only so many hours in the day. This is what we tell our patients, right? There's only so many hours in the day. There's only so much I can do. So I have to be resourceful and think outside the box, but make those plans happen. So again, on the schedule, on Sunday and Wednesday are my meal planning days. And you
Yeah.
taught me, you make the note where you put the recipes in the note. I mean, Chat GPT,
Mhm.
listen, I am not techno savvy. I'm not that person. But ChatGPT is makes things easier and easier. So we just have to use our resources that we have to help our
Yeah.
lives.
You had shared when you first joined the group was, how exactly do I meal plan? I'm a busy physician with these kids. I don't know how to meal plan. So we actually created a resource. It was really to answer your question, but then everybody in the group got to benefit, which was the video called How to Meal Plan Like a Rock Star. How many hours would you say you've saved per week just by making decisions in advance with our frameworks?
I'd say 10 hours. Again, we all give excuses for things. And I think I just started having the inner dialogue myself. Quit giving excuses and you change. You got to change. You got to do something. You don't like where you are. So you have to be, and I think to be an example to your kids too, right? I wanted to be an example to my children that, especially I have 3 daughters, that what you put in your body, and that's what, like, I think one time you asked me, what are the questions that I ask myself now? And that's what I've noticed is really the change is up here in the mind. I
Yeah.
always ask, am I really hungry?
Mm.
Am I eating because of emotions or something that's happened to me during the day? 2, is this fuel for my body? How am I going to feel after I eat this?
Yeah.
And so I just catch myself thinking more about stuff than I ever have in my entire life.
When someone says they don't want weight loss to feel like a full time job and they don't want to keep thinking about it forever, what's your experience now? And we'll get into your specific weight loss journey, but what's your relationship with food now compared
Yeah.
to what it was before?
I think I've found things that make me feel better. And when you feel better, you don't want to eat that other things. Now, will I have a dessert? 100%. I will have sweets. I think yours is Doritos. Mine
Hmm.
is a cookie. Like, man, if I see the best cookie ever, I will taste it. But
Hmm.
now it's like sometimes it doesn't even taste as good as I thought it would. But I've also experimented and then my stomach hurts and I just don't feel good afterwards. So I'm like, remember this feeling, how you feel. Next time you want something, is it worth that feeling? Now, sometimes the answer is yes. Yes, it is. But lots of times the answer is no, it's not. When you have the plan and the plan fits into your lifestyle, I don't really think about it that much anymore.
You were saying that one of the reasons that you used to eat would be maybe
Oh.
emotions.
Mhm.
So, talk to us about before our work together. What was it like being
Oh
experiencing
gosh.
stress, emergencies at work, and what did it used to look like? And then what do you do now?
Okay, so if I had a really hard day or an emotional day or just shitty day, you know what I would do? I'd come up to the office and I'd eat 4 cookies or cupcakes or whatever was there because I thought I deserved it, right? Oh, you've had a crappy day. You can eat what you want, you know? I just would treat however I was feeling with whatever food was there. And now I go through the emotions of, man, yeah, that was a bad day. But how about I read a book or I take a bath or I do something else that I think would benefit my soul more.
How did you learn to do that?
I think I recognized what I was doing, number 1. I knew that treating my emotions with food was probably how I got to where I'd been my entire life. Again,
Mhm.
it's the mind work that leads us to the physical stuff, right? Which is why gastric bypass sometimes doesn't fix a problem if you don't fix what's going on up here. And so I realized through all the coaching that I had to fix what was causing me to eat, which was that I thought I deserved the food.
And I remember you were someone that said at the beginning, like, wait, so we're not going to be talking about recipes and food all the time. What is this mindset coaching? And so, how would you describe mindset coaching the way that we do in the group? I mean, sometimes, of course, we do talk about weight and strategy,
Right.
but
Oh,
we're really
yeah.
talking about the stresses that you experience as a
Yeah.
professional overachiever. So,
Yes.
how would you describe what coaching is to someone that is new to it, or they know that it's maybe a part of their process, but they don't quite get
Right.
it?
I love it because you have women from all backgrounds, professional women from all across the United States, even sometimes outside the United States, who come to talk about what's going on in their lives. And what I've realized is we all have similar things, maybe a little different, but similar. And working through those problems helps us all because I mean, you learn something from everybody, no matter who they are, what they have going on in their life. And again, I think that's why women groups are succeeding is because we realize that as together we grow better and learn faster. And I think it's really amazing. And to see other women succeed too gives you encouragement. Like you said numerous times, as physicians, we're always supposed to have the answers, right? And so we've been trained to always have the answer, always have the answer. Well, I didn't have the answer. And you also feel like you don't have the answer for your patients, right? Which and I mean, what woman doesn't come in and want to lose weight, right? So I feel like you have to be an example to them on what to do. And so this has helped me.
Yeah. So let's talk a little bit about just your weight loss journey. When from the time that you joined, what did
Mhm.
it look like? What was the rate of weight loss that you experienced? Were there any lulls, any gaps? Tell us about it before you got to maintenance.
When I first started, I feel like it was kind of slow at first. Again, it was a busy season. At that time, I was traveling a lot with one of my daughters for travel volleyball. So I felt, and again, you're learning, you're gaining information. I started in January of last year, January 2025. I feel like March, I really started to kind of kick in at that point, and then it really started coming off pretty consistent. And I think I had a 30-pound weight goal, and I think I hit it like August or
Mhm.
September. At that point, we talked about like, I was like, gosh, I'm very goal driven. So what do I need to be doing next? I'm not a good treading water kind of person. So
So
I
hit
can't.
your goal, which was 30 pounds down. And then the question was like, okay, what am I doing next?
Right. Then I was like, I don't know. I'm in this uncomfortable territory. I really want to maintain, but maintaining is not good enough, right? I got to do something else. And so I was kind of trying to focus on my next goal. What was my next goal going to be? Which I decided I was really going to work on muscle and lifting weights. So I got a trainer and working
Mhm.
out 2 days a week now with her. And anyway, I talked to you. I was like, oh, I'm nervous about this maintenance.
I
It's
also
very,
think before you got into the strength training, I pushed you to stay with just maintenance for
yes,
a
you did.
short period of time.
Yes, you
And I
did.
pushed you as like, I know that you're a goal driven person, but I
Yes.
want you to just let this win land. Let
Yes.
yourself receive the fact that you've achieved a goal without jumping to the next goal. And I know it's
Yes.
uncomfortable, but just stay there for a few minutes. And
Yes.
then when you feel inspired by the next thing, we'll talk about the next goal. So I'm
Yes.
curious about before we get into your strength goal, how did it feel to just sit with receiving the fact that you finally hit maintenance with a plan you actually liked?
Definitely, I was proud of myself. I was where I wanted to be. I felt very good. Again, I love my plan. You ask us a question like, "Are you happy with your plan?" I mean, I'm always like 10 out of 10. I love how I eat and how I feel and how I'm in all aspects. So I was very happy and proud of
Mhm.
myself.
And then you
Oh,
got the little whisper of like, I think I want to start building some muscle.
right.
And we had to adjust your strategy a little bit because if you're wanting to build muscle, now we do want to focus on not tracking necessarily because I feel like sometimes tracking can create a lot of food stress, but we said we have to become a lot more intentional about protein
Yep.
and lifting.
Got it.
So what was
Yep.
that part of your journey like and how have you felt going into that phase?
Again, I never did weights. I think we talked about this before. I felt
Mm.
that cardio only counted if you were sweating. Like the whole weights, I was very uncomfortable with. I can't say that I always love it. I love it afterwards,
Yeah.
but I continue to lose weight.
Mm.
Like, and so now I'm 10 pounds down from my goal weight. I don't think I've ever been this small.
How are you feeling? How are you physically feeling?
Better than I have in 15 years, probably. I can't afford
Mhm.
to buy all these new clothes, girl. I mean, this is expensive. Oh my gosh, these pants I just found, they don't fit me anymore. It's a good problem to have. But I no, I don't want to lose any more weight, really. I just
Mm.
really want to work on building muscle and being
Yeah.
stronger.
I remember when we talked about this a little while ago, you had a little bit of a nervousness around maintenance because in
Mhm.
the past, whenever you've lost weight, you've always gained it back. So you have
That's
only that
right.
history.
Right.
And we were inviting you to challenge that maybe this time is going to be different.
Mhm.
How are you feeling about maintenance now? And what helped you switch into like letting go of that fear? I think a lot of
Right.
us have that worry.
The thing about this maintenance is that, again, I'm not depriving myself of anything, and I love my plan. If you love your plan and you don't feel like that you can't have this, or I feel like on some of these plans or Jenny Craig, Nutrisystem, I mean, like you name it, protein shakes, RS, you gotta eat these protein shakes 3 times a day, right? I don't have to do that. I can have whatever I want. I'm not fearful of the future because the future is whatever I make it to be.
How would you say you have done with travel? Because even though you're a physician, you have really put travel on your calendar, family trips, solo
Mhm.
trips, marriage trips. Tell us about what that journey has been like for you.
It's been awesome because, and again, I have to give some credit to my lovely children. I feel like I told my husband when we went on vacation recently, we went out to LA and we're going to these super healthy grocery stores and checking out the products of
Mm.
grocery stores. So I think my kids are wanting to eat healthy too. And so that's been fun to see. And again, I'm finding products that I can take with me or that I can get everywhere that make travel easier. And like I think I was in the Salt Lake City airport, they had a great fast food, healthy fast food. It had a great
Mhm.
option. I'm still able to find great options for me. I'm focusing on protein, unprocessed foods. So I was very nervous about this. The husband and I went to this private island, and there is only one restaurant at the resort there for you for the week.
Mm.
And I was very nervous because, as you always have told me, I like to look in advance and see what my options are before I get there to have a plan, right? Well, you can't look up any options, and they only serve one entree. There are the choice is chicken, a fish, or vegetarian. Okay.
Right.
So I was like, oh gosh, this is really out of my control. And what am I going to do about this? Well, I thought, okay, you have one choice. I had breakfast every morning with eggs. I started off with eggs. I love eggs. And they had some smoothies there, which were great. Also, I found out this was all farm to table, super fresh food. So I took a deep breath about that. And then when it came to the meal, I ate my protein first. And then whatever else was on there, I ate till I was full.
Mm.
That's the other big change, I think, with me. I was a very super fast eater. I was always in a hurry. And so I really tried to be cognizant of slowing down at my meals, trying to be the last one to finish instead of the first one to finish, and listening to that gut and satiety and not overeating. You got to just watch those extra bites that your body doesn't need or you feel horrible after you eat them.
You could take that anywhere. You don't need the menu in advance. That's like what was curious about for you because I know you've traveled so much. Where are all the
Mhm.
places you've gone this past year that you've taken this roadmap with you?
Okay, let's see. Where have I been in the last year? I mean, I can start from just last June. I went to Grand Cayman in June. In September, we did Utah Zion National Park. Let's see. November, I did New York City. I've done Disney. We just did LA, Park City, and I just went to the BVS.
And the key is you're able to maintain slash lose weight even with travel without FOMO or deprivation.
No
Now, I
problem.
can hear someone listening to this entire episode and listening to you, and they're like, that's either only like Kara is special and she's just somehow a special unicorn, only she can do it, number one. Or the other thought that I can imagine someone having is some flavor of like, that's too good to be true, or like, unique old me cannot figure this out. So, what would you say to someone that's having those thoughts?
First of all, I am like super plain Jane. I've tried everything, did not think it would work. And I will say I'm very disciplined, and I do still have to work in the mind about cardio and the scale. I have had issues with the scale and not getting on and fearful of things. So you have to do the mind work. But I'm telling you, if I can do it, anybody can do it. I promise you. You just have to be resourceful, lock in, and hold yourself accountable. When I get on the scale, I always say, you got to keep your foot on the gas, right? No matter what the number says, you put your foot on the gas. And again, it's not about perfection. It's about when you go off, going back on. And so, yes, I mean, of course, I've gone places and didn't have an option and had a couple of fries because I still like to eat a couple of fries from Chick-fil-A. But I still get on the scale. If it says it's up, you just keep on going back to your plan and what you love about your plan. My plan is not perfect, but then you got to reevaluate. Why did that not work out? I'll give an example. Okay, so I worked an extra shift at the hospital a couple weeks ago. And it was an overnight shift, and I got off at 7 a.m. Well, then I had a workout appointment at 7:30, and then I had all these appointments to do. Well, I had planned to be at the hospital to 7 a.m., but I had not planned that I didn't walk back into my house till 3 o'clock that afternoon. So I'm out running errands, and I'm thinking, what can I do that will fuel my body? Because I'm getting hungry and I don't have anything with me. What am I going to do? Well, my plan had been to come home and get my breakfast sandwiches that were here, but I didn't have that. So I had to go to little bowl place or whatever that I felt was a good choice for me that helped me stay on my plan, but still was off the plan for the day. I think you even said to me one time, so why? I said, well, I want to, start lifting weights. And you were like, well, why? Why do you want to do that? I mean, you can't just say that. You've got to have a reason again, you've got to have a reason why you want to do what you do, not just because you want to lose weight. Why
Yeah,
do
and
you
I
want
think
to
that
lose
that's the
weight?
important part. If weight loss was an act of self-care, if taking care of your body, your gut, your metabolism, your mood, your muscle was an act of self-care, what starts to change? And that's how we create it's like this healing on the inside that like, of course I can sustain this forever. What do you think has been the hardest part of the entire process?
I've had to learn to say no. You cannot do everything. You've got to prioritize what you can and can't do. So that's still the hardest part, I think, for me, because I want to be able to do it all. And I think we've had that in coaching too. I don't ask my husband or don't ask the kids or don't, I still think I'm going to do it all. And I have to give up the control. Again, I think like our lives are out of control in some ways at work. And so I try to control other aspects of my life. And so I've had to give that up.
To let that go.
Let that go, girl.
What's been the trickle or ripple effect in your marriage, with your kids, in your career as a physician? Like, how has it touched these other parts of your life? What's been the impact?
Nothing shows your kids more than actions, right? You can say a million things, but if you don't live it out and do it, then there's no value in your words. And so that has been extremely important. So I think my kids are really seeing the choices that our house is making. And then when you feel better about yourself, it exuberates to everyone, right? My whole office is I feel like in a positive setting when it comes to body images and all trying to make better choices with lunches and sharing recipes. When people see your success, they want to know what's the answer here, Kara. And so I think I'm been able to help patients and staff and my kids. And obviously my husband is super supportive and happy for me. Even yesterday, I caught myself, I was on the airplane and we are hitting some turbulence, which I do not like to fly. I'm really struggling with flying lately. And I noticed those feelings inside. And I thought, ooh, this is it. What are you gonna do about this? And I was doing the box breathing and just some of the things we've talked about. So even in big situations when I've had some outcomes at work that were pretty scary or situations, working through those as well as just day-to-day life stuff. I hear some of the things you say in my head, which help me get through those feelings.
I think one of the biggest things I've seen, especially this is true with physicians, is there's an incredible load on physicians because it's not just you wanting to do your best and care for the patient, but there's so many other responsibilities you have at the workplace. And physicians are experiencing burnout. So, how has coaching impacted you specifically as like being a physician and managing your stress and
Yeah,
navigating the work stuff?
it's interesting you say that. One of my good friends, the one that I've been working out with, she's actually retiring with 4 kids and a husband that's a physician, and she just can't do it anymore. I think you have to have a balance, number 1. Like I said, some days the scale works great, you're balancing good, some days it's not, but you have to protect yourself and rejuvenating rest, doing things that fill your cup up so that you can continue on. Otherwise, you can't do this long term. I've hired a mid-level provider to help me. So, because I'm going to leave at the end of the day and I'm not going to do any of my work unless I'm on call. Like I am going to be in my kids' activities. That's important to me right now. And so, again, I've had to hire help in my office in the inboxes and doing things like that. I hire a girl who comes on Wednesday and she just gives me 4 hours and she'll do whatever I ask her to do. So sometimes she runs to Target and Walmart and does all that stuff for me so that I can then do something for myself and don't have to spend all my day off running around doing all those errands. I like my job. I love my job. Not all the time, but I mean, I do. And I want to continue to work. And so you got something has to change.
You were listening to the podcast. What do you think made you decide to go from listening to the podcast to deciding, I want to actually invest in this, be in this group, actually get in there? What made you decide to make that change? Because it's a serious investment.
Well, I think when I talked to you and I was like, okay, nothing else I'd ever done had worked. So here I have an OB who's a physician
Mm,
who knows what my life is like. Let's do it.
mm.
I think, and I talked to you, I felt like this was something that I had not experienced. I'd never done coaching before. And again, it was at first I was like, oh, I'm not quite very sure about this. I really enjoy you.
You can talk about the culture of the group and how the group
Yeah.
feels once you're on the inside, because I think you can't know unless you're in there.
Right.
How
Yeah.
would you describe the energy of the group, the feelings of the group, and like what is happening? What's the magic inside this group? Because I feel like
I
it's
think it's
magical.
love I think it's loving, non-judgmental are the biggest ones I would say that, again, you have women from all different walks of life who are really experiencing similar things, and they might say something different, but you're like, "Oh, I can totally relate to that." And so many of the conversations are just so applicable to where we all are. Got different people in different careers, starting, retiring, negotiate. I just think you can learn so much from women that in a group. And it's intimate. It's people are sharing some of the very intimate details of their life. And I admire that and think it's a really cool thing to get to be a part of.
You renewed in the program because you want to focus on maintenance on this next goal. Who are you now compared to who you how would you have identified yourself as before we started working together?
Well, I think I'm definitely calmer. I
Mm.
think my stress level is definitely lower. I think that I am happier. I think that I'm a better wife, mother, doctor, friend, daughter, sister
Mm.
than I was before. Because before I think I was like felt like my world was spiraling out of control. And I think the emotions of life, I mean, some hard stuff had happened. We lost a coworker in our office and I think I've just realized life is precious and I'm going to be the best that I can be.
What would you say to someone that is like, I should be able to do this myself?
I don't think you can do it yourself because you need somebody to push you and ask the questions and really not argue with you, but just I feel like sometimes we'll say something and then you kind of keep going and going and going, which you couldn't have that dialogue in your head by yourself. You
I don't
couldn't
hold
solve
back.
that. And that's what I tell people about you. It's never from a place of meanness. I mean, you're just trying to help them figure out why we're doing it, what we're doing. You can't do that unless you have somebody challenging you.
For someone that has been considering this program, that has the thought, I don't know if I have the time and I'm kind of busy. Maybe I should do this later. What would you tell them?
This would save you so much time. You don't not have the time to do this. That's the end.
I feel like, especially with your example, because you didn't just lose weight, you really created a strategy you love, you're modeling it to your kids, but you've gotten back time. That
Mhm.
was the biggest thing. I still remember you on the video during our consult call, and the word that kept coming up for you was
I don't have
overwhelm. And for
mm,
you to have freedom from that most of the
mhm,
time,
mhm.
to me, I mean, how much would you value that at?
Millions. I mean, come on, girl. Millions. I mean, think about that. 10 hours a week minimum. That 40 hours a month. I mean, just think about all the time in a year. I mean, that time, like I said, time is the limiting reagent in our lives.
And that's one of my favorite things to coach on. Whenever someone's like, I don't have time, I'm like,
I
girl,
know.
let's go.
I love
Let's
it. I
go.
love it when someone says that to you. I love it because I know what you're going to say.
I love it. And also, I think it's actually become just between you and me, it's like actually become a part of my mission. I didn't
Mhm.
know that it was going to become a part of my mission, but I want professional women to realize that time is not their barrier.
No,
And while we blame our time, I promise you, you will not solve any problems. So let's stop blaming time.
time,
Let's
right?
actually look at what are the skills, mindsets, or strategy gaps
Yeah,
that you have, and like, let's go
yeah.
solve that.
And we're all busy. Everybody's busy, and the calendar will just keep getting busier and busier.
Yeah,
So, yeah, 100%. No,
I
I love
love
it when
it.
people ask that question to you because I know what you're going to say, and I can't wait.
And I'm saying it with love, but
So
I'm
you
very
are.
direct. I'm
Yeah,
very direct. And I also think that a big piece of the process is when a client shows up, I meet them right where they are. So I think
exactly.
that's another important part of the process where every client is at a different point in their journey. Sometimes they're
Yep.
new to coaching, sometimes they're seasoned. They
Yeah,
might be early in their career, later in their
yeah,
career, but my philosophy is I will meet you at where you are and
that's
I will
right.
move at your pace.
Yep.
You come often, you raise your hand, I will meet you at that pace. And if
Mhm.
you decide you want to be observing more, we do that, right? But I
Yeah.
will not hold back from showing you your blind spots.
Love. It's love.
It
It's
is
love.
so much love. I adore this group. It's like my favorite day of the week because I really do love coaching
Yeah.
inside the space. So
Yes.
just wrapping up, if there's one last thing you would want to say to someone, they've been listening to this podcast, they love the podcast, maybe they've been hearing it, they feel inspired every week, and they've just been on the fence or they're not sure, what would you say to them?
Do it. Just do it. Do it. Don't make an excuse. It's your life. You're only given one life here. Jump in. Jump in.
Thank you, Kara, for coming on the podcast again. I really wanted to have you, especially on because I love sharing just the real stories. Like, I like to catch people and clients at different parts of the journey. We're on such different, as we were saying earlier, like everyone's at a different point in the journey. And I remember when you got to maintenance, you had that flicker of worry because this is
Mhm,
where we usually gain it back. And just
mhm.
watching your journey over the last few months and like how you've leaned into maintenance and owned it, I just
Mhm.
wanted to share this part of the
Alright.
process. So, thank you for coming on the podcast and
Yeah.
sharing so forthcomingly. And to everyone listening, if this is inspiring something in you, then it might be time for us to work together. Okay, my friends, I will see you all next week. Bye. I hope you all enjoyed my conversation with Kara. I just love how she talks about the way that she has lost weight with an approach she actually loves. That is actually something she even shared last year when she was on the podcast for the very first time. Understanding this is $1 million skill, how to make magic action decisions around your nutrition and around your rest. You cannot have one without the other, or your brain will literally steal food, even though you're a disciplined and smart person. She understood our magic action decision framework, which is an important skill set that literally will change your life. Didn't just help her lose weight. She lost 40 pounds in our work together, but she has gotten back 10 hours of time per week. And I think that that has actually become one of my unintentional side missions. I know as a busy professional mom myself how important my time is to me. It is my number one most precious commodity. It is the only non-renewable resource that I have in my life. I can earn money back, but I cannot earn time back. Once the day goes, it's gone. And I say that not to scare you or to create some scarcity, but I want to say that to help inspire you that taking action now doesn't matter for any other reason than you get to feel your best now. Today is the youngest you will ever be. Starting today means you get the longest runway. And I think sometimes, especially overachievers, because I used to do this myself, we keep waiting for the perfect conditions or our calendar to somehow work with our goals. When in fact, when you prioritize your goal, your calendar starts to follow. So it's one of those things I want to flip over on its head. When you're prioritized, when you're taken care of, when you feel your best in your body, in your soul, in your heart, everyone benefits. Your calendar benefits. You get hours of time back that you used to spend overthinking and second guessing your plan, undoing your wins, and you start actually feeling better, which you deserve to have. And then the best news is everyone in your life gets to benefit from that. Your kids, your partner, your staff where you work, they will all reap the reward. So if this podcast has been inspiring you with possibility, I want you to start taking action starting now. Go and register for our next live training. It's happening in just a few days, this Sunday on May 31st. You can grab your seat over at burnstressloseweight.com/training. And right when you register, you're going to get an email from me with all of the details. And then be ready to book your consult call. Our next cohort of my 6-month group coaching program is opening doors right after the training. And I would love to see your name join us. I hope you all have a wonderful day. I hope that these last few client stories have bitten you with the bug of possibility. And that's really all that we can do with this podcast, is to inspire you and to help you see that if these clients can do it and they're just like you can do it too. I'll see you all at the next one. Bye. One lesson that I have learned over the years is when women feel better on the inside out, everyone around them gets to benefit. Your career, your family, you all get to claim the up level. So if today's podcast episode gave you a new way to think or maybe challenged an old perspective that you've had, take it with you the rest of this week. And if this podcast episode resonated with you, I would love it so much if you could leave us a rating and review and share this episode with a friend or in your local community. And if you know you want more support and structure in achieving your body goals this year, it might be time for us to work together. Head over to www.burnstressloseweight.com, where I have the latest resources and all of the information about how you can work with me. I hope you guys have an amazing week, and I will see you at the